An unprecedented heat wave is sweeping across China, turning bustling cities into massive ovens. This is no ordinary summer heat. It is a brutal assault by nature, pushing human endurance and infrastructure to the brink of collapse. In Hanam, the ground gets so hot that the asphalt actually melts. Electric vehicle tires deform and become as soft and pliable as beeswax under the scorching sun. Just sitting down on a public stone bench will make you jump from the burning sensation, as if you just sat on a grill. Shocking footage reveals that even a clothesline left out in the sun is gradually melting. An electric fan, usually a lifesaver on hot days, quickly becomes useless when placed outdoors. Its metal cage absorbs an intense amount of heat to the point that it itself becomes a heat source, and the motor inside nearly stops functioning. This harsh reality is quantified by telling numbers. Outdoor temperatures in many areas have exceeded 113 degrees Fahrenheit, a figure typically only seen in specialized saunas. But the more terrifying aspect lies in surface temperatures. Sun-exposed car seats can reach up to 171 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to cause second-degree burns upon direct contact. The asphalt road surface, with its extremely high heat absorption capacity, has been recorded to exceed 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Under this intense heat, the road not only melts but also explodes. A dashcam video captured a terrifying moment in Hunan. The road suddenly cracked open with a loud explosion. The asphalt pushed upward, twisting like a giant black python, while gravel scattered in all directions. Experts explain that this is an extreme case of thermal expansion. When the surface temperature becomes excessively high, the asphalt layer beneath expands significantly, creating immense pressure with no way to escape, resulting in a physical explosion. This summer disaster sows the seeds for a deadly hazard in winter. Rainwater seeps into these cracks, freezes, and continues to damage the road structure, posing a risk of the entire roadway collapsing. The heat doesn't just affect inanimate objects. It also disrupts the very laws of life. An ant crawling on the tile floor was cooked in just a few seconds. A woman in Qingdao was shocked when she returned home after 2 days away. 3 cartons of chicken eggs she left in the kitchen had hatched into a brood of chicks. The indoor temperature, maintained above 104 degrees Fahrenheit, had turned the room into an unintended incubator. Nearly 70 out of the 90 eggs successfully hatched. In Tay and Shandong, a similar scene occurred right on the transport truck, as the eggs on their way to the hatchery hatched prematurely due to the excessively high temperature inside the truck's cargo area. A more comical and tragic story happened in a kitchen in Nanning. A woman smelled the burnt scent of shrimp, but couldn't figure out where it was coming from. After searching for a while, she discovered that a shrimp had jumped onto the stove while she was washing it, and the heat radiating from the stovetop, even though it wasn't turned on, was enough to cook it. The shrimp's head was still alive when it jumped up, but its body had already turned bright red from cooking. Life seems to be under threat from all sides. In Wuhan, one of China's great furnaces, people have been finding birds unconscious and falling from trees. A red-bellied hawk, normally a fierce predator, was discovered lying weakly on the ground, exhausted from heat stroke. Behind these strange stories lies a quietly escalating public health crisis. In Shandong, a university dormitory without air conditioning has turned into a heat trap. Many students have fainted and had to be taken to the hospital by ambulance. They recount that just 20 minutes after showering, sweat would pour down as if they were bathing again. Sleep had become a luxury, and the campus supermarket has become the only air-conditioned refuge. At a music festival, despite cooling measures like mist spraying, numerous attendees collapsed from heat stroke. Firefighters had to use high-pressure hoses to spray water on the crowd for emergency cooling. The situation was so severe that a college in Shandong had to cancel final exams and immediately order students to evacuate and go home. Outdoor workers are the direct victims. Construction workers, delivery drivers, sanitation workers. They are all struggling to work under an unforgiving sun. Hospitals have reported a sudden surge in heat stroke cases. The Wuhan Institute for Occupational Disease Prevention and Treatment stated that there have been 155 hospital admissions, and heartbreakingly, 5 people have died. These are the first recorded heat stroke fatalities in the city in the past 3 years. A worker in Guangzhou suddenly experienced full-body convulsions right at the construction site, with blood pressure that could not be measured. He was fortunate to be saved just in time. This crisis is not only affecting human health, but is also paralyzing the entire economy. Agriculture is facing a double disaster: drought caused by high temperatures and crops suffering from root burn. The risk of crop failure and a significant drop in yield are threatening food security. Industrial centers are no exception. The soaring demand for air conditioning is overloading the power grid. Machinery is overheating, and worker productivity is declining. Port cities, the lifelines of the global supply chain, are struggling with slowdowns as workers are unable to work continuously under the scorching sun. So, what is the root cause of this extreme weather phenomenon? Scientists point to a deadly combination of factors. Global climate change is clearly the main culprit, increasing both the frequency and intensity of heat waves. But in China's megacities, the urban heat island effect has amplified this disaster many times over. Concrete, asphalt, and high-rise buildings absorb and retain heat, turning the city into an island significantly hotter than the surrounding rural areas. Another hazardous factor is humidity. In Beijing, the relative humidity in the air has at times reached as high as 95%, nearly saturated. High humidity hinders the evaporation of sweat, the body's most important natural cooling mechanism. This prevents the body from regulating its temperature effectively, leading to a much higher risk of heat stroke and death compared to a dry heat scenario. Residents of Beijing describe the feeling of opening the door in the morning as like being licked in the face by a cow: damp, sticky, and suffocating. Even modern technology is revealing deadly weaknesses. A series of solar-powered streetlights have spontaneously caught fire across the country. The cause is not the solar panels, but the lithium batteries used to store energy. The battery enclosures are completely sealed with no ventilation system. Under intense sunlight, the temperature inside the enclosure soars, causing overheating and explosions. The use of recycled, cheap, and low-quality batteries in many projects has only made the situation worse, turning these streetlight poles into ticking time bombs hanging over people's heads. From cracked roads and melted tires to lives lost, this historic heat wave is no longer a distant warning. It is a harsh reality, a systemic crisis shaking every aspect of society. On social media, people's voices express both worry and despair. They realize that the heat is getting worse every year, lasting longer and becoming more intense. One comment read, "We are racing against time. If we don't take decisive action right now, next year's temperatures could rise by another 4 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit. The Earth is warming, and some places on this planet risk reaching a point where they can no longer support life." This crisis is a stark reminder that climate change is not a problem of the future. It is happening right here, right now, with unpredictable consequences. China, along with the rest of the world, stands at a historic crossroads. Either make radical changes or face a future that is increasingly hotter, more dangerous, and more unstable.